at 10 foods that have secretly changed. We all have our own favorite foods, but have you ever noticed one of your favorite foods change in looks or flavor? Well, sometimes companies secretly make big changes either to save money or to comply with new laws. The changes can sometimes be massively altering to their product, but they keep them a secret, so prepare to never see food the same way again. But before your mind is blown, be sure to subscribe and press the bell icon too. Coming in at number 10, we have Nutella. Remember a few years back when Nutella was darker than it is now? So why is this? People are becoming more health conscious in the world, but despite this, a couple of years ago Nutella decided to add more sugar to their recipe. They also added more powdered milk to substitute for more expensive ingredients. Fans of the product were very annoyed and said it now doesn't taste as good as it did when it was more unhealthy. Nutella say the quality of their product has remained the same, even though it has cut their costs. But Nutella did not back down, and that's why if you look at an old Nutella, you'll see it's much darker than the ones we have today that are filled with more sugar and fake milk. Next up is McDonald's. McDonald's is the world's largest food seller. They feed over 68 million people every day, but most of these people probably didn't realize that a few things on the McDonald's menu have been secretly changed. For example, their vanilla ice cream changed back in 2016, so they removed all artificial flavorings. This was to save money, and it didn't go unnoticed, as they use vanilla ice cream in everything from their McFlurries to their classic cones. Even their second most popular menu item, the Chicken McNuggets, has been changed a couple of years ago. They stopped using chickens that take antibiotics, which cut their costs a lot. And a few years back, McDonald's did something huge when they changed their French fry recipe. They used to cook them in beef oil to give them a smoky and burger tasting flavor, but they changed their recipe to use vegetable oil instead to make them healthier and save money. This got a lot of their fans annoyed, but it boosted McDonald's sales as it meant their fries were now vegetarian friendly. I don't know what a vegetarian would be doing in McDonald's anyway, but apparently they're out there. Next up is Twinkies. Who doesn't love this American snack which is known as the strangest yet most delicious cream-filled treat? However, I'm sure we all remember the panic a few years back when Twinkies were discontinued by Hostess. The brand was then bought by a big Wall Street finance company and brought back. But fans were sad to see that the new Twinkies were not what they'd remember stuffing in their mouth as kids. They made them smaller than before, and they also changed the recipe of their cakes to make the shelf life even longer. Twinkies already had a reputation for lasting for an insane amount of time, but I guess that wasn't long enough for them, so they changed the size and the recipe to save money. Don't worry though, they'll still be charging you the same price. Next up is Subway. Subway is the world's biggest fast food chain with more franchises than McDonald's, Burger King, or Taco Bell. Subway likes to present themselves as healthy and for the most part have a good image. Well, except for Jared, of course. But some customers were mad when Subway changed their bread recipe a few years back. They added a chemical called azodicarbonamide, which is used to make rubber for shoes and yoga mats. They added this to bleach their bread to make it look better. But when this was picked up by the media, fans who liked their healthy seeming food were mad and demanded it be removed. Subway complied with their fans' demands, but they still did try and be sneaky with this recipe change. Next up is Cadbury Eggs. Cadbury is the world's largest chocolate company, and I'm sure for a lot of us the main candy we remember when it comes to Cadbury's is their various types of chocolate eggs. I mean, who doesn't love biting into a gooey cream egg over Easter? Well, a few years back Cadbury caused an uproar when they secretly changed the recipe to their gooey cream eggs. They used to use the classic Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate for the shell, but changed this to a cheaper off-brand chocolate hoping nobody would notice. Of course fans did, and they felt very cheated as Cadbury's didn't even tell them about the change. Cadbury's said they weren't doing it to save on cash and simply said the off-brand chocolate was the best one. But surely they wouldn't be telling their customers that some knockoff chocolate is better than their classic dairy milk? The customers didn't buy it, and the recipe change lost them millions of dollars in sales. And a few years back, fans pointed out that their mini eggs tasted worse and cheaper. Cadbury said it was down to cocoa prices, which have recently increased. But many suspect that this is to do with a secret recipe change, as it happened right after Cadbury was bought by Kraft Foods, who are known for cost cutting. Next up is Taco Bell. So McDonald's and Subway have already tried to fool their customers by messing with their recipes secretly. But Taco Bell, the world's most popular Mexican restaurant chain, is not innocent either. They made changes to their nacho cheese and beef seasoning a few years back. They removed a flavoring called Yellow No. 6 from their nacho cheese. Fans said this made it less tasty and it now looks a lot paler. And all of the artificial flavorings in their beef seasoning were also changed to non-artificial ones as well. Some fans were not keen on this change and said it made their food less flavorsome. Did you notice any changes in Taco Bell's food? Coming up next is Nescafe. One of the most no-thrill drinks in the world is a cup of coffee. It's such a standard drink that 60% of Americans use to wake up each morning. But did you know that a couple of years back, the world's biggest coffee company, Nescafe, changed their formula? This came at the same time as Nescafe changing their containers to have red tops. Many fans noticed this and complained that their morning cup of joe had changed. But Nescafe simply said they made the flavor fuller, whatever that means. Next up is Coca-Cola. After water, Coca-Cola is the second most popular drink on the planet, and they're one of the most successful companies in the world. Despite this, in 1985, they made the biggest business blunder of all time. They were testing a new Coca-Cola recipe and it was rated much higher in taste tests. They wanted to beat Pepsi, so they got rid of Coca-Cola and bought in new Coke. However, people missed the old Coca-Cola and didn't buy much new Coke. They were losing so much money that they had to do a full U-turn on their idea and pulled new Coke from the shelves, putting original Coca-Cola back on them. It has since gone down to the biggest marketing flop of all time. But since Coca-Cola's revenue for 2016 was $42 billion, I'm sure they don't mind all that much. Next up, we have Nestle Chocolate. So we know Cadbury's make secret changes to their chocolate, but Nestle are another brand which has been caught red-handed messing with their chocolate formula. People complained a couple of years ago when they said Nestle's new Toll House morsels were messing up their cookies. Nestle said they made some changes to their recipe. They replaced some elements of the recipe, such as the vanilla in it. And Nestle also came under fire for cutting the sugar in Kit Kat and Milky Bar bars. They wrote with extra milk and cocoa on the packaging, but didn't mention that they skimped out on the sugar. This led to many fans saying that their chocolate simply wasn't the same, as it was far less sweet. Coming up next is Fanta. So, we already know about Coca-Cola's terrible formula change, but Coca-Cola also own Fanta, and you'd better believe that this year they changed the flavor. They altered the bottle and the logo. But that's not all, as people soon noticed that the color now seems more yellow than orange. This is because it has far less sugar and colorings. But perhaps Fanta are just caring for their loyal customers, you may think. Well no, they simply did this to get around the sugar tax in the UK. They ditched the sugar and replaced it with artificial sweeteners, which leaves a nasty aftertaste. But to save on tax payouts, Fanta will not be going back to their more sugary original flavor.